All right. Good morning, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. My sincerest apologies there. It's now 8:05 across SVG and surrounding areas. Today is the last day of February, the 20th day of month number 2 for the year 2023. Activated Mornings is live right now. We've got in studio Mr. Kingsley DeFreitas because it's a Tuesday. No, today's not Friday. And yours truly, Christal. We're going to go up until 9:45. The number to call is 457-9997 and the number to WhatsApp 457-9994. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I like it. And I'll leave that for last.
Last or off air?
6 minutes, 30 seconds after 8 o'clock in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A special good morning to you, wherever you are. Special good morning to those persons who expect to hear me here. It's good to know that somebody loves me. It's really important. I have some questions that I want to ask people. Is it really true that today's society is made up of poor, underprivileged persons? Is it really true that we have a middle class and an upper class? I'm a bit confused, so I want you to help me and let me know if my observation is true. The reason why I'm asking you that question, I will listen to one of the Shaker program last week where a regular caller, Seppin calling, and he was speaking to Augustine Foreign, and I have to wonder why people allow politics and politicians and political parties to determine their trend of thought. So all of a sudden, because I own a car that is done 20 years old, it's a 2009 car, it's on 20 years. So, and I could pay me rent, because today's end of month, all of a sudden, things happening good in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Well, hey, if you listen to me and you're catching your tail like Nenen, put your hands up. How was he? I see you. If you're living from paycheck to paycheck, you will have a good idea what that is like. Today's most persons pity. The money you don't spend and you get it in your hand yet. Because to make sure pay, juggle your bills to pay a little bit of the water bill for the cut it off so you can stay fresh like a rose. You got to juggle the bill to make sure that you let bill cut off safe. If you let bill 150, 100 or 99. And hey, when I drive to it, they ask me, what is our national dish? I just tell them, people just think it's breadfruit and saltfish. It's breadfruit and jackfish, right? How much of us can afford to eat breadfruit and jackfish? Breadfruit and codfish. Codfish, we used to call it saltfish, expensive. Hey, what most of us eat now? Chicken back, cook up with rice. And
tastes good though.
She loves the taste.
Chicken back, yeah. Stew chicken back and roast breadfruit.
When you talk about stew chicken back, I like stew chicken back, but I talk about just run it up and cook some pilau because that's all we can afford to eat for the rest of the next month until the next picture come. So a delicacy, I agree with you. Stew chicken back and breadfruit is relatively good. But how much of us can afford to buy a breadfruit? Christal?
Oh, you go buy your scrant breadfruit?
Wow. And when neighbor get fed up with you, she said she fed up with you.
If your neighbor is a good neighbor, he or she will understand. Okay. It's not like you're trying to cut down their breadfruit tree.
Well, I have a breadfruit tree in my yard since I born and meet it. They just keep growing.
So you're eating plenty breadfruit then?
No, I had to eat the breadfruit because the neighbor just go and pick like it's theirs own, you know?
Do they ask?
No, it's a freelance breadfruit tree. It was planted by my father. So they could do it in the field.
So it's a community breadfruit tree?
Well, it appears that way. But we don't make it bother because just say it probably stopping some people from being hungry.
Yeah, you don't eat it either, so. Can you bring one for us, though?
If I don't eat it?
You say you don't really eat breadfruit.
Roast breadfruit and roasted breadfruit is two different things, you know.
What is the difference between roast and roasted?
When you were young, you must ask your mother when you go home. She used to have wood. Then it's called cold charcoal now. They said they try to improve the thing.
Who call it charcoal?
Young people.
Not me.
Well, so it used to be cold. Now, hey, you have to go, don't kill rain come, you have to go and try to find some grand or something to roast the breadfruit. Grand is from Pea Street.
Grand or grand?
Grand. Before rain, it
gotta write these things now.
Right. And hey, Christal, So, current to step eraser, since Europe becoming in power, our could roast bread upon stove. So, it roasts outside and it is roasted inside now. Right?
Or you could do it in the oven.
Well, yeah, but I prefer it roast outside and the modern day now, we put it on the stove inside the kitchen and before it's a jackrabbit, it roast.
Oh,
right?
it's more convenient for some people.
Okay, so it's more convenient. Right.
Yeah, you gotta go hunting looking for a bag of coals or some sticks
so
outside.
that make it, I give the impression that things are well in Mr. Christal.
Not necessarily. I think it's just a personal preference and convenience. If you roast outside or roast inside, it's up to you.
Well, okay.
But I prefer the traditional throw it outside or
okay.
make somebody to roast it for you.
Yeah, okay, right.
You know?
Well, I still in that position where I get it roast outside with probably some coals that others called charcoal. So they some piece of wood light up with a piece of so it's hard to get served from me because they're like easy. And then you roast it, and it is a roasted breakfast that you could probably eat with. But people say you could do a bull job. So that been poor people for a long time to the bull job or classy food, right? So all of a sudden, for the last 20 years, you could buy a Skettle, then we sing about vroom vroom, but remember that 30 years old car?
Skettle coming.
Yeah, remember that?
Yes.
Right. So all of a sudden, you have one of them Skettle car there, and you get in your pit check, and before you done, say Jack Robin in pit check done, and for step and razor, put it on public assistance. Imagine the government boasted about 5,000 people and poor relief is, and people talking about progress taking place in the Really? I mean, I had to, but right now I scrape the bottom of the barrel to survive. Okay? So I can put my hand up and say, well, yeah, I catch a million because we use him properly and I really can't use you where people could identify with to survive. But that's one of the people who will tell you, well, all the driving Skettle and the little older car and everything for the last 20 years is doing well. But let me tell you something. Why do you think some of we getting sick? It's because we can't eat quality food. Quality food is too expensive. So we just cook up some pillow every day and then we get fat and then eat tutus, we dead. You understand? So it's a wrong theory in civics and again when people go say, well, because we own a car and we have a little fortnight or monthly job, everything is well in civics. Hello, we got people in civics who's struggling just to send the children to school. If we get up in the morning and make sure the children get something to eat. If not, you go and you use the food program in the school and you get that. It's that people listen to us now, go tell you, they should glad when Sunday come, forget some cup of tea with a boiled egg and a Milo inside it with some milk. To the people still living in them trying circumstances there, not because they want to, but because the state of the economy and the way things going, so people catching the tail to survive. But you got one or two people who will get a little money from the public assistance list. We make it scientific this morning, so it's a poor relief. And they will say, all is well and simple, so any grains, get your house painted pure red, and they could champion the cause. And so, well, things well. How things go well?
Well, it depends on difficult to make a blanket statement in discussions these because by one person it might be good for them. Okay, they get to a position where they're able to own a car, they're able to meet their expenses, even though every end of month their salary covers all of their basic expenses. They may be able to save something, sometimes they may not be able to save anything, but it depends on that particular individual. So I would run away from casting a blanket statement. Somebody who has a car is doing well. As you rightly said, not necessarily, but however, they might be doing well.
Yesterday I look at my car windshield and the stick on the windshield say, boy, you go and pay that because you can't drive your car from tomorrow. It's a consciously, my mind tell me, my car license, I have to find that money to pay the license or I can't drive the car from midnight tonight, you know. You understand?
Right.
The police meet you on the road. Oh, you're on the radio talking this, that, and you can't pay car, so you're playing big. You know, I am fair to say playing big.
I will ask him. You could pay all of yours.
I just using that to tell you how things are difficult with some people.
With some people, you know, yes, economically speaking, yes, inflation, yes, we've had COVID-19 and the volcanic eruption that negatively impacted the economy. Yes, things are more difficult for everybody feeling it. The folks who actually collecting a good salary at the end of the month, they are also complaining that they have to spend extra money at the cash desk whenever they go to the supermarkets. Everybody is complaining. Yes. However, there are some people in between there who make things bad for themselves because they make poor choices.
Why are you saying it down to poor choices? Do you think
poor choices, bad choices? When I say poor, it means they didn't properly sit down and evaluate.
Oh, poor.
All right. I'm not speaking about poverty.
Okay, right. They usually
poor choices. Rich people make poor choices too.
Right.
But money management should be a big thing, as in education wise. Now, I get a new job. My salary has increased. What happens to some people is that increase in the salary, they raise their level. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for some people, they raise it so much that it becomes difficult for them. So they don't really get out of the bad position that they were in before. The excess income should be used as a cushion. So maybe you save to invest, or you do something, but they take that excess income and they spend it on something else, and they end up in the same position, and then they start complaining. And this is just one or two, a few people in between there. Discussions like these, I cast no blanket statements, but I think it's important to pinpoint all the different sets of people within there.
Somebody want to share their thoughts with you?
Are you taking a call early, man? Normally they say, I don't want no calls. Hello, good morning.
A pleasant morning to all in studio and those who are listening to the program.
Mr. Caesar.
This morning.
my guest yesterday actually enjoyed your conversation.
Okay.
You are.
I was trying to change up my voice, but you haven't got it.
You are a good ambassador. What I point out to them, that is the Minister of Agriculture, potential Prime Minister Subota Caesar.
No, this is not the Minister, Honorable Subota Caesar.
Yeah, Christal.
I was trying to change up my voice, Christal.
Well, let me tell you something. You catch me.
Not me.
I got you.
If Kingsley didn't say Mr. Caesar, you would have catch me for the whole time. Anyways, good morning.
Well, Christal,
yes,
we had a wonderful exchange yesterday after that. Pick up some guests on the airport and drive into a back road. All right, I'm going to tell them. But they really felt welcome that I could point out Subota to them, because they know his voice, but they never identify his face, and they were so enlightened to see him, Minister. Go ahead, Minister. Yeah.
Yes. I'm following the discussion, and I just want to lend a voice to the discussion taking place. And the whole tenor of the discussion I'm getting is the economic situation in the country and how it's impacting on different groups of persons. Now, I think that it is wrong to say or to think that there's any place in the world where everything is good. So I want for us to first address that. There's no place in the world, whether it's the United States of America, Canada, where there aren't pockets of persons who are vulnerable and the persons who are not able to have enough money to satisfy the demands. That being said, though, I want to come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because at the end of the day, persons who are listening are saying, or Subota, you're a policymaker in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, tell me about our country. Yes. I think one of the things we are not discussing enough, Kingsley, and I want to use the program to start the discussion, is the impact of what is taking place internationally, and particularly the war between Ukraine and Russia, and what I'm thinking that we're looking at is possibly a war between Russia and the rest of the world, because there are many other countries allied to Ukraine that in many different ways are supporting Ukraine, and it is causing great disruptions in supply chain. And when you go to the supermarket shelves, Kingsley,
Yes.
when you look at the prices, these prices are not normal.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think we need to do, and I want to start a discussion on this program, how are we as a people going to fight against the imported inflation? Inflation meaning the high rise in prices. There is a significant increase in the price of almost everything that is imported. And for persons who are listening, we have to strategically avoid or substitute many of these imported items, because at the end of the day, your salary is not going to increase in a way that can make you, or put you in a position to manage the extent of the imported inflation. And Kingsley, you are senior to Christal and myself,
Mm-hmm.
and you would have followed what took place in places like Jamaica at one time, in Guyana at one time. And someone was telling me even in St. Vincent at one time, when there was significant increases in the price for goods coming in, where the whole country decided, Christal, you know what? We are going to start to grow more locally. And Kingsley is a very important point earlier, that some of the items locally are sold too expensive locally as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something we can't just throw all the blame on the goods coming in, because definitely what's happening, the shipping cost has increased. You had Ukraine, which is a significant breadbasket of Europe, that's out of production. So there's an increase in the demand for food, and prices have basically gone up globally. Not only in St. Vincent and Grenadines. I spoke to several of my family members in the United States of America, who usually send a barrel every year.
Yes.
And they said to me last year, we're sending the barrel earlier, because when you go into the supermarkets in the United States of America, the prices are extremely high.
Yes.
And here is where we have to come together as a people and decide that, one, we are going to change the basket of goods that we are consuming or we're eating. And changing the basket of goods that we are consuming doesn't mean that we are going to eat food that is not as healthy as we used to eat before. In fact, you might be surprised, Kingsley, that if we use more locally produced food, that we may actually be eating healthier.
Yes.
Because you remember when we were children, your mommy used to make a pattern right around the yard.
Yes. Yes.
Right around the yard, a housewife in the 80s will go and create a pot. You have your chichira running on a vine.
Yes.
You have your little pumpkin that hanging up there.
Definitely.
You have your passion fruit that running up on a tree. You have a neighbor, of course, with a breadfruit tree. Everybody had a turuta plant in our grindy.
Yes.
And we were not purchasing a lot of the food that we were consuming. And what I've seen today is that we have moved away. We have cut down a lot of the mango trees that we have in the yards.
To build houses.
We have cut down the sugar apple trees. We have cut down the guava trees that we have in the yard. And persons, everything they need, they are heading to the supermarkets for a lot of persons. And this is predominant, Christal, among the younger persons in the population, because the persons who lived in the 80s and in the 70s, that was a part of their culture. As Kingsley was saying earlier, the breadfruit tree, we used to call them nowadays village girl.
Yes, yes.
The breadfruit trees for everybody.
Everybody, man.
And the mango tree. When you have school vacation, everybody will go picking people mangoes. Remember those days?
Yes,
You
man.
go and you stone the pali and you stone the gutti and that kind of thing.
You could imagine.
I think what
Go up to the mango, feed the mango ripe and come down and stone it.
Sure.
I think what has happened, Kingsley, is that we have changed our purchasing pattern for food. And we need to return to that. And since the ingredients, we are in a very privileged position because we have not moved away from agricultural production. We have programs, the backyard gardening program, and because we have significant an export platform, we export a lot of dashes, a lot of yams and these things.
Yes.
Still in the churches, in the rural communities, people still share. It's almost a system of bartering. I remember growing up, Christal, if my father slaughter a goat and it comes 40 pounds, we end up in the house with about 15,
Yes.
because someone have to carry this for this person, you have to carry this for that person, you have to carry that for that person. And when they slaughter the goat, if they don't return the favor, it's a big talk in the village. Imagine Kingsley kill a goat. And when I kill mine, I didn't get Kingsley a 5 pounds and Kingsley boy, he hiding it.
Yes, yes.
So I think that coming out of this discussion, because I don't want to hog up the whole show, what we need to get back to is a situation from a food standpoint, because the other points that you raised, from a food standpoint, where we start to, from a culinary art standpoint, utilize a lot more of the dishes that we see, that we can make from a lot of the food that is available to us.
Yes.
I mean, when I see, for example, in breadfruit season, there's so many dishes you could make with breadfruit, but we just stick into just roasting the breadfruit
Yes.
or boiling it in a boiling. You could use the same breadfruit and make a pie.
Yes.
You could
Pudding.
use that same breadfruit to make pudding.
Mhm.
You could make so many things from dasheen. And what I'm going to do coming out of this discussion here this morning, I started this initiative with several chefs. But I honestly think that some of our cooks are not spending enough time with the different foods that we have. And then because really and truly you can't cook rice every day, and it's not even healthy.
But what's Minister? You know,
Yes.
not an advertisement for him, but an encouragement for him. You know, one restaurant that does quite well based on our recommendation as taxi driver is Four Shells, because you can go there and get as variety as local food alongside any kind of fish dish you wish to.
Well, that's something the private sector would have to make the conscious investment in.
Yeah, and I'll talk about
You
Dean
know?
Crown and Four Shells. He does it well, extremely well. Yeah.
Because Kingsley, just before Christal comes in, the situation is very different, in some countries that do have access to food. Right now, food prices around the world are sky high. But there are some countries where you can't go ask your neighbor for yam,
Yes,
and nobody growing that shit up the road,
Yes.
And when you go to church, you can't get pound meat from a friend, And that, I mean, if you follow what is happening in places like Pakistan or what happened in Sri Lanka and different, there were actually food riots, so people start to fight because they don't have any food.
Yes. Yes.
Let me just add in at this time. I think what has impacted where we are today is the social and technological advancement within our society here. Now, maybe back in the day, I can't speak very much for back in the day or so far back, but you would have been working to maintain a certain level of expenses. So you didn't have this machine, you didn't have that machine, you didn't have that technology. So back then you would have had more time to stay at home, prepare the meals, do a little bit of backyard farming. Yeah. So you would have had
You're
that.
on the run now, you're on the run.
Right. So as you advance, so I'm going to buy this, I'm going to purchase that. Your expenses increase. Now the services that are available to us, back then when they were more of a luxury, they're now necessities. So because you have to get them to maintain yourself and to keep up with the advancement of technology and socially, you find yourself having to work longer, harder, to meet those expenses. And because you're working longer and harder, and more people are advancing, which means there's greater traffic on the road, you're spending a lot of time in a commute, you don't have as much time to make that sort of investment and to live the way we used to live. Because of that, you find yourself buying a $5 lunch or a $10 lunch in town, because by the time you get home, you're too tired to cook.
It's not probably healthy something.
So basically, Christal, if I may sum it up, is that you're saying that there's some ancillary cost that comes with the desk job.
Right. So,
because you need a vehicle to drive to work. So that you have a mechanic that you deal with. You need tires. You need different things. Because when I grew up, I used to get a van.
Exactly. Moving forward has actually, we've moved back in some instances. But what I noticed is that people, more and more, they are including things, and they're trying to find time to do things that they used to do that were really beneficial, that without them now, it's basically harming their physical and mental health.
But Minister, I agree with where you're coming from. You speak as the Minister and as Soboto Caesar, Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. So we get the idea you're suggesting that we should pay more close attention. And I agree with Christal that today luxury is advanced for some people. But I can remember, we still have it home. We had a frying pot, right? A steam pot home. When you want to fry anything like that, you put it on about half an hour before. You keep enough heat for fry the egg, fry this, fry that. And as Christal said earlier, because you don't do that anymore, you could just pass and buy something instant. And that luxury has gone to the window for convenience, because wife had to go to work, girlfriend had to go to work, drop the children to school. So it's on the movies are creating the problem and unhealthy food. I agree with you. Every individual have to go back, like when you and I go up in Mongoland and go up Canada by to get some lands up with the work. That is important that we share what we have. And it's so important.
But what I think to Kingsley, because as Christal is saying, you have a larger percentage of the population now no longer having persons being housewives, persons being farmers, so they have the direct access to food.
Yes.
But what this could do is actually create an opportunity for farmers.
Yes.
Whereby a lot of this food that we have, let us make it affordable for the person who is in the bank working or in the public service working, or Christal who is in studio. But I am saying that there are many persons, there are several persons within the country who are trading goods, and they're selling the goods too expensive. I am not fearful to say that. I am not fearful, because if I could say that when the traffickers take the goods to Trinidad and Tobago, that there are people in Trinidad who are taking the goods from the traffickers underpriced and selling it for exorbitant amounts of money. I could say so that in St. Vincent that there are persons who are moving bananas from Salt Rivers and Diamonds, where they're buying it cheap. And when they come to Kingston, they're jacking up the price and they're running away people from buying locally produced goods. And it's unfair. I mean, they have to cover the cost, don't get me wrong, because there's a cost incurred. But the cost, and it's so expensive. For example, I went to a farmer last week. He's growing butternut squash. He's selling it at $2 per pound. And the supermarkets are buying it and selling it back at $8 a pound.
Yeah, actually see that.
So he will see that and he will increase his price, right?
I see it up to yesterday.
Market value. Something here to note. While it is important to maintain or have some sort of control on the price of certain commodities or certain products, right? Even if it's more affordable to folks, some people will still run into the problem of, I don't have enough time to cook. So why should I buy it and let it spoil? Maybe some intervention on work-life balance. It might have to be the private sector. Maybe have some discussion. I don't know how it's going to work, but if I don't have the time to cook, then I'm still not going to buy groceries.
Yeah, but Minister, you have a big work on your hand, because when that hotel, that Bukomere is completed, there will be demands for quality food. Because hotels really move food, and you have to try to encourage persons to go back into the lands and see how we could deal with that issue of providing quality food to the hotel. Because hotels are coming, because if you notice, the Maya Suite is almost completed. Diamond is going by leaps and bounds in the construction every day. the one at La View used to be Grandview. I think now if I went there Sunday, it's awesome with Pan Ban.
Oh, you?
And,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
actually went there. I have to tell you that. It was very nice. Yeah.
And Christal Kingsley tell us that you have to buy a Vitamol give it from next week because daily flights coming on American.
As,
You
Uh-huh.
want a Vitamol?
as
Watch
from,
your time.
as from Monday to 6th, they have a flight coming every day from here. Yes,
Watch your time. Okay.
All right.
A suggestion before you go. I know that there are like festivals. I know Barley would have their own, but some of the female farmers. I think you remember the SVG Women's Farmers Academy. You remember that from Helen's daughters?
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
Some of them are suggesting, or they're thinking of, or they want to do a mango festival. I think
Mhm.
I think it's something that's worthwhile because during the mango season, we have a lot of mangoes that are wasted. I think it could help to maybe inspire some other ways of consuming mango, of preserving it. So maybe one or two extra festivals throughout the year. I don't know. You have a lot of influence, maybe to come up with some ingenious ways to have more breadfruit
That's
festivals,
an excellent point.
Yeah.
The Dasheen Festival,
Yeah.
the Kong Festival that just went.
The
Right,
Kong
right.
Festival was awesome. Awesome.
Hey there.
But Christal, I want to speak on this final point publicly because it's
Mhm.
coming out of an idea that I think that you just gave me.
Mhm.
There's nothing stopping us from having the People's Kitchen, from having a group of young entrepreneurs coming together and purchasing a lot of food and using creative ways from culinary art standpoint. Because as you said,
Mhm.
you could get the food, but cooking it because you're so busy.
Right.
And really have a delivery service
Right. I think I saw that
with
somewhere
a lot
in
of the
India.
locally produced food.
Yeah. And it's actually
Because
doing
in
well.
the States, there are Uber food.
Yes.
And
Yes.
already here, I see people delivering food.
Mhm.
But what we want is the food must be reasonably costed,
Yes.
and it must involve locally produced food, and it must be nutritious. And I think that is a good opportunity. Crystal,
Definitely.
we should talk about it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you
Uh,
have farmers on board. The farmers can provide a weekly credit to the People's Kitchen.
Mhm.
And of course, you have a sound investment, and let's put it together.
Yeah.
It's something I want to talk to you about Kingsley and Christal off here.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay.
Okay,
Before
then.
you go, one
All right, okay.
final point, right? As I have you here, it's not how it is. Opportunity. Now, in every situation where you have problems, there's always an opportunity. So we have a situation where people don't have enough time to cook, but there's a need for consumption of food, obviously. And
Yes.
we are producing raw materials. I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe it's individuals themselves looking or thinking outside of the box, but it would be really great if we could move from the primary products to secondary products. For example, when you go into the supermarket, there are boxes of instant mashed potatoes. What is stopping somebody or holding back somebody from producing instant mashed sweet potato or instant mashed dasheen or
point.
dehydrating something to make it? Okay, so it's produced locally. It's also manufactured locally. So you get your primary products, your secondary products from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's also exportable. And the working class, they have a healthy meal available to them.
But before you
I
answer
don't know, like
Christal,
some-
right? But
Mm.
Christal, that's a good observation because there's a supermarket opposite the Eating Center. You could go there and buy frozen Carlo soup. You don't cook.
Just heat it up.
Just heat it up.
Yeah.
I was amazed when somebody told me that they could get frozen Carlo soup. by
Yeah, I
shipping
do
to the
that from
supermarket.
time to time.
I said, wow.
Yes.
So you're onto something, Christal.
Yeah, a
Good
little
observation.
symposium or something to
Go ahead,
gather
Minister. Use the
ideas.
time to wrap up. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that going forward, we definitely have to highlight some of these opportunities that that are there for us to utilize more locally produced food. And I love the discussion, and let us talk about it off here, okay?
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Okay, cheers.
Okay,
Wonderful.
right.
Thank you
Bye,
so
bye.
much.
That is why Senator Israel Bruce could never beat Subot Caesar. You see a practical
Oh, you
man
reached there. We going good.
who understand politics from a local standpoint. Israel Bruce, Eat your heart out.
We're going good.
Yeah. Let's go.
You got to pull the side of the road. No, you just pulled the side, man. You're on the highway. 20 minutes on to 9 o'clock. I think it's time for us to take a quick break and come right back. All right, to Unactivated Mornings. Quite a number of responses are on the WhatsApp, but if in case you wanted to jump in on this one here, 457-9994 is the WhatsApp number. Feel free to comment and add your bit to the discussion. We're coming right back.
We at 99.9, home of quality programming, a source of reliable news and information, home of legendary voices and music. We FM 99.9, the clean fresh sound. Visit us online at www.999wefm.com or call 457-9994. We FM 99.9, the clean fresh sound.
Whatever you are celebrating, birthdays, anniversaries, engagements, retirement, or just celebrating life, the place to be is at Basil's Bar Kingstown. Established for over 38 years, we are open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with an exquisite ambiance. We have a set menu and 3 a la carte menus to choose from, and we are flexible to all requests. We go above and beyond to serve you. Basil's Bar Kingstown, where it's more than just a meal, it's an adventure. Call for reservations at 457-2713.
WeFM reminds and encourages the general public and users of the Kittles Beach to keep it clean at all times. Discard of all garbage properly. It is illegal to remove the sand from the beach. Let us keep the Kittles Beach and other beaches across St. Vincent and the Grenadines clean so that you and I can enjoy it and marine life can survive. This is a message from WeFM 99.9, the clean fresh sound.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a whole new world out there, reaching new customers and getting products faster. That's what it's all about. Ocean freight rates are skyrocketing, so don't pay more for slower service. It's time to switch to faster, more reliable air cargo service with SkyMax Cargo. Up to 3 flights weekly to and from the USA, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean islands, providing excellent import, export, and e-commerce solutions to put you ahead of the competition. For special low rates on small packages and air cargo, contact SkyMax today. 784-456-5400. Local agents SwiftPack Interprime Cargo. Call 784-456-5400 to book your shipments today.
How we live? Hybrid life, living on the hybrid life. What you feeling? Hybrid life, every living on the hybrid life. In the morning, that's when the contract is a sure thing. How we the new floor plan name? Hybrid. If you don't know about it, then they better slide it. How we live? Hybrid life, living on the hybrid life. What you feeling? Hybrid life, every living on the hybrid life. Jump in the hybrid life, living on the hybrid life. What you feeling? Hybrid life, every living on the hybrid life.
With Flo's new hybrid plan, postpaid and prepaid come together as one with no overages, no contract, no deposit, and no catch.
Hybrid.
Bundle up now and get 50 gigabytes of data and 2,000 anywhere minutes for only $55 per month, plus a discounted smartphone.
You see the new phone plan that Flo made? You could turn postpaid to prepaid.
Is SVG.
All right, so then it's response time. It is 16 minutes onto the 9 o'clock hour. I think for the this morning's conversation discussion has been quite fruitful so far.
Yeah, that's a compliment.
I'm just saying.
No, I asked you.
Content-wise, it's been quite fruitful. No pun intended.
Okay, well, I take it as a compliment.
Jokes. All right, so some responses are on our Facebook and YouTube Live. We'll get to the Facebook first. Good morning to Anne, George, and Joshua. Good morning. Somebody says the culture in St. Vincent has changed. People cut down fruit trees to build a big house. Some of us cannot understand it, but good morning, Christal and Kingsley. Tell the nation. Okay, I missed one. He's listening. Tell the nation, Minister Caesar, eat what you grow and solve the food shortage. Sorry, solve the food shortage in SVG and the world. Another one. We need to go back to the land. And Colin says, "Good morning. Good morning." All right, now on the WhatsApp. Oh, see that. I have 3 breadfruit trees who want to come get when it's have on. I know her. Just you know where she lives? Yeah, man. Of course you do. Try me up there for some breadfruit. Stove time for me and my breadfruit. There's some people like as you get older in age, you can't really bend over and bend down and do the hustle, man. It's convenient to roast it on the stove. Pop it in the oven if it takes stock. Good morning. I'm living in the USA and it's the same paycheck to paycheck. All right, this one here is for you. Off air. Right? All right, good morning, Ron. I will take that and after work we'll deal with that. Good morning, Christal. Today I celebrate my 63rd birthday. Oh, happy birthday to you, Oswald. And a permanent home than that which I have now. And that is sweet SVG. So please celebrate with me. Happy birthday to you. Birthday boy. Birthday man, sorry. You know? Okay, this was from earlier. Good morning again. Kingsley, don't talk down chicken back and rice. Because I live in the US and I still eat it. You don't have to not have money to eat chicken back because chicken back is sweet. You cannot have pilau without chicken back. All right. In the US, there are poor people just like SVG. Some of them are living in trailers too. And I am so in agreement with Christal that some people make poor choices. I tell my church that they must save 15% of their income no matter what. If you have a bill to pay and it will interfere with your savings, with you saving a 15%, just pay part of that bill and save what you need to. Another one. Good morning, Queen Christal and Kingsley. Kingsley, while I do agree with you that things are difficult for Vincentians on a whole, we have to stop putting St. Vincent in a bubble, thinking that things are isolated to us alone. For countries the world over, it's the same. It's the way the system has been designed for the majority of citizens to struggle, to have to depend on and live from paycheck to paycheck. There's maybe about 2 to 3 countries in the entire world where citizens live comfortably. Most people in the US that work make a lot more than persons home. And I'm telling you, it's not easy for persons here either. You drive taxi. So let me use a taxi driver here in New York. He makes between $2,500 to $3,000 a week. Sounds like a lot of money because $3,000 is $8,000 EC. He has even worked and gotten to more than $4,000 a week. And he struggles as well. $4,000 is 10,000 plus, 10,600 more, see less. So yes, come down on the government and the business sectors to do better for its citizens, but stop thinking that it's just people in SVG alone are struggling. Some people just carry on and not complain. Bringing up Patrice there, man. Good morning, Christal and Kingsley, right in Canada here. If you want a yam or any ground food, you have to buy and it's expensive. Good morning. Quality food is expensive. Kingsley, let me complain about that where I have no option but to buy because I can't plant my own. You live in a country where most Vincentians can plant things in their yards. I used to pay 2 to 3 something for a half a pumpkin. That same half a pumpkin is now 9, 11 something. The age the kids now owning cars at, that age back then, we couldn't afford a cell phone or a good pair of shoes. Back then, parents used to buy a sheep, goat, or a rabbit for their kids. Now parents buying gadgets and other material things for them kids. Most of the responses are coming from people in the diaspora.
At least they're listening and
Yeah. I think the diaspora.
could identify with a lot of the comments that they're making because I had a rabbit, several rabbits and guinea pig. Every mother wanted to have babies, but we used to sell them to a hotel called Young Island. And once you clean them, you should get up to $15 a pound. Could you imagine that?
Rabbits.
Rabbits.
They're still like that. People.
Yeah.
Oh. As you're talking about, maybe I should buy my son a chicken.
Like I tell you, this morning after Christal, I have to land up in a place called Conwell. The people in Mongrel we know and Sobota we know exactly where it is. He used the land and he's into poultry. In other words, rearing fowl, chicken. And it is important that you do that. It's good. You get good price for it. Yeah. Let me tell you something, you know. The present CEO of the International Airport always remind us that we could only get better in St. Vincent. You see, with all these hotels coming on stream and American coming here every day, this new airline showing interest for April food. It will be a demand for quality food. And I tell you something, see that hotel out at Maya Suite that is going to open soon, expect nothing about that more than quality. Best, Mr. Kenja Aluminum, he's going to produce a good quality hotel for all Vincentian, CARICOM citizens and people living overseas. When you come to St. Vincent, you will eventually get to hear and see a quality hotel built by Mr. McDonald from Kenja Aluminum, which is being completed. And it is encouraging to see that the government is providing some incentive for proposals because you know hotels are actually access some of their facilities by duty-free concession. So it's good to see that the product. And like Mr. Weeks always say, the tourism industry has a wide variety of sectors within them. And I see nothing more one of the best coming from the CEO and the tourism authority and the government making sure that people invest their money there. That's a sizable investment where he's making out there, but I believe that it will bear fruit once consistency flow in terms of quality food and quality presentation of the services that we are providing in the tourism sector.
And the marketing.
Marketing is important. Marketing is important.
You can have an excellent product. If people don't know about it, then what are they going to buy?
Yes. So for those people who think that driving around a car and pay their bills is relatively good, hope that you listen to the minister this morning in his comprehensive presentation where he said we have to do more. I can remember when we were small, you go around to the neighbors, they have them old triangular banana box to plant in some side. They have a little tomato plant there. There are 2 holes of dash in. And you could just go, most of us have a drain running through our wastewater. You could plant swamp dash in them and when you take out the middle and make a cardo soup. Yeah?
Or Edo.
Yeah.
Which cardo is better? I heard that one is better than the other.
But you know, Christal, I get it over the hill now. I don't know the difference between a cardo.
Dashing and
Edo, when it is planted, I just cut them the center part inside the young part. And you know, Christal, your mom will tell you, we used to strip off the car a long time.
Yeah.
Strip it this, we show the best part of it, Now you just cut it and blend it up.
You don't strip it anymore?
No, you don't strip it anymore. It's like
okay, what news?
Yeah, you don't strip it anymore. You buy
I don't pick anyway.
Yeah, you buy a cucumber.
Jeez, boy.
And you wash it. And under the pipe peeling off the green skin. That's the best part of the cucumber you try.
Yeah, you have to peel it if the cucumber old.
Yes.
And bitter.
Pick it young.
Talking on thing in one, right? Last week, Friday, I went home. I decided a couple months ago. I don't know what got up into me, but I normally plant things around the yard, right? So when I come in and I encourage people to do a little backyard planting, it's because I have a little bit of experience in it and I see the benefits, right? So I have a few things, and a couple months ago I planted sweet potato. Last week Friday, my mother prompted me to harvest the sweet potato, and I pulled up about 12 pounds of sweet potato, and I was just so excited. I felt like a little child again. Stick sweetie. I was so excited. I ate Sweet potato fritters, Saturday, Sunday,
I like
the
I
entire
like a cook up in
weekend.
Carlo soup, man. I just like sweet potato.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
prefer sweet potato salad. Like how you make potato salad,
Yeah.
sweet potato salad with a little cumin and other whatever.
The people in the
But
country go tell you they prefer sweet potato pudding. Yeah.
yeah, sweet potato pudding.
Oh my God.
I'm
it's-
yet to try to make sweet potato
Yeah,
pudding.
it's tasty. It's tasty.
I know.
Yeah,
sweet
send your
potato.
thoughts at
Oh,
4579994, and we having a wonderful morning so far. Look at that
yeah.
on the face. Is that the Facebook over there? Or that's the live.
That's
Jesus.
your life.
Wow.
Good morning. You said that people not living much better than the past because right now majority of the folks can in fact afford what they have. So to make a blanket statement to say people are catching their tail to survive.
But Christal, people are making the ultimate sacrifice. Pride,
Only Jesus is made the
Vincent shall
ultimate
have
sacrifice.
a love for nice houses. You see all of us in
But if I can't afford it, where are you
you
going?
see all of us in this with big houses, right? It looks nice on outside, but let's speak about the content. Is the content inside as good as it should be? Just you initially got to tell you, not everything that glitter is gold. There are people in Simbis who are catching the linen to survive.
But you see, that's why I say people make poor choices. No, I think socially, while it's good that we like to invest in like good looking homes, I think it's to signal for some people that you kind of have made it.
Yeah.
So you put
That's why
yourself
children
in
want
a
pride.
you put yourself in a position just to make it look
Yeah.
a certain way, and then to toots look, your house is on foreclosure because things happen to you and you didn't. Of course, sometimes people might lose their jobs and what's not, but boy, hello, good morning.
Morning and
Good morning, Christal. How are you? Good
I am
morning,
doing well.
Mr. DeFreitas. How are you?
You like that in the answer? Yeah, I
Me?
was
You like
chuckling.
you love it more than me? You
Yeah.
didn't give it to me. Go for it. Yeah. Good morning, Sabota, Caesar Minister. You steal my thunder because I was calling the same time to ask Kingsley the same question. Kingsley, can you point out to me at the top of your head which country in the world that there is in poverty?
St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Heaven.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Exactly.
Never.
Exactly, Crystal. You know something, Kingsley, nothing is wrong with life, you know. It's what we put in and what we take out. Life never promised us that it will be smooth sailing. And Crystal, I couldn't agree with you more. People go make poor choices and they go for what they can't afford. You know, and they too watchy, some of them. They see the neighbor bring in a new machine. They know where they get it from, and them how one working good, they want to show the neighbor too. Dollar down, they putting out the good chair set, and they go on to show the neighbor. Next thing, they can't afford it. But Kingsley, you see people living from paycheck to paycheck. We have to give thanks that you could live from paycheck to paycheck. Some people doesn't have any.
What you doing? What you doing?
Right.
What you doing? Justifying the hardship by your party?
She's saying some people don't have a job. They don't have a source of income.
Kingsley, I am not justifying anything. Listen, had it not been for help, Kingsley, I would rather live in St. Vincent right now. Law on that. You understand what I'm saying, Kingsley?
Mhm.
And I think St. Vincent is top. Right in this country here where I reside, Kingsley, every day somebody is losing their house, ending up in the shelter, going to food bank. Thank God for that. Because here, you in St. Vincent, you could go walk in the bank and talk to the manager. Let me pay the interest, and later on I'll pay the mortgage. Can you do that up here, Kingsley? You can't. So you have to understand. And they have all kind of oil, they have all kind of thing out here. And you think that the government is boasting on the amount of people that they have on poverty, Kingsley? Look at it, that they are making sure that they can tell the world that in a small country where we don't have oil, not even a good factory, that they are taking care of their own by giving them something to eat. But you know what I didn't hear you say? A lot of people, the wrong people, some of them is on public assistance, and that is what they need to clean up.
Well, the ministry said that they were working on a project right now. I think it's a project, yeah. She was in, no, I can't remember the name of the head of the department, but it's something that they're working on and they are conscious of.
Exactly.
Someone.
So that is what I need to hear you say, Kingsley. Now another thing, Christal, you tell me. I would see in the village where I live. I used to walk from Lodge Village School to Green Hill, where that is, for lunch and back before 1 o'clock. Today, it's 9 o'clock, and people have the children stand up waiting for a van to take from Sharps to Lodge Village. Not only that, the van would come
Convenience.
down Kingston Park, take them to town, and then come back Lodge Village. 9:30 minutes to 10, they're just showing up in school.
Moving ahead,
You
sometimes
could,
we move backwards, yeah?
right, you can put lunch for your child, and the child, then I open the door for you definitely. You would tell your child, you packing lunch. Mommy, I want to no lunch because Crystal daughter does bring lunch to school. And hello, you're going to fight now
You know
too.
what? You know what?
Wait.
You know what I had? You know what I had for lunch yesterday? Anita,
Mm-hmm.
a biscuit for $1 and some water.
Because Kenzie, you choose to have that. Don't give me that.
We have
That's
to go now, yeah?
okay.
Yeah, it's 1 minute after 9, so you can call
Oh,
back when
I'm
we come
sorry.
back in. That's all right.
No, I have an appointment, Crystal. So
Oh.
God, I'll take it up later. Have a good
Okay.
one. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for
Have a dollar
contribution.
biscuit.
Yes, man.
Have a dollar biscuit for your lunch, then you will experience that. A tea time biscuit for $1.
Anita, right? You chose to have that.
By the airport by yesterday for $1 and drink some water.
Okay. All right. Because it's now time for the ECCB Bank Rates is brought to you compliments the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Brick by brick, piece by piece, building with technology, helping wealth increase, starting small.